Hello and welcome back to Animal Crossing, where today I'm going to be just playing the game and having a little chat about what I'd like to see in a brand new Animal Crossing game. Now, with all the talk of a new console, there's a very good chance they will be either developing or at least consider developing a new Animal Crossing game. And with the recent Nintendo Direct and the various rumours of contracts under Nintendo and their new portable games console, it very much screams Nintendo Switch 2 dropping sometime holiday 2024. And with hints that this is going to be backwards compatible, this also means that we may be enjoying our current Animal Crossing game with shorter loading screens and a whole lot less lag. So there's plenty of things to be looking forwards to. However, today I've put together a list of all the features I personally would love to see in a brand new game of Animal Crossing and ways I think it would improve on New Horizons. Number 1, more interactions with villagers. So I want to go back to the good old days, and for me that was Wild World and New Leaf, of doing more fetch quests. There was always someone somewhere who wanted me to do something, some favour which would leave me running around the island, or sometimes just grab a snack from a nearby tree. It does happen in New Horizons, but it's just not as frequent as I'd like. It's the same with villager games where they ask to play hide and seek. It's just so rare, I feel as if campsite villagers come more frequently. On the same topic as the hide and seek, I might as well mention the megaphone too, since I really miss the usefulness of that tool. So for those of you who don't know, it was a way of calling your villager, and wherever they happened to be in your town they would respond, and it would work as a kind of directional tool that would help locate your missing villager. And I find that at the moment we have no way of doing that, and I find myself running around the island for ages looking for someone. But yeah, more interactions will make more relationships between you and your villagers less empty, besides saying hello once per day. And would it also be so hard to prioritise a villager's interactions with items over sitting on the floor all the time? I set out a perfectly good picnic spot with a bench, but no, you want to sit on an obscure path right under a tree that clearly is in my way. Why? So there are a few items that villagers interact with, but I find it happens all too rarely, so a little bit more would be perfect. And depending on the personality type, maybe they could have their own preference of items, such as jocks getting excited over gym equipment, or snooties looking lovingly at clothing items. This would make designing villagers' yards so much more rewarding when you see them interact with the items you personally pick for them. Number 2, NPCs as fully fleshed characters. So we all know and love the backstories of a lot of our characters in Animal Crossing, such as the Able sisters and Isabelle and her elusive brother Digby. But I want to see a routine that makes them seem a little bit less like they sit behind a counter all day and actually live lives on our islands. Like, where do they live? In the back of resident services? Do they ever go home? So back in New Leaf there were these pelicans, Pelly and Phyllis, and they would take shifts with the assumption that one of them had gone home to sleep while the other was at the post office working. And that just feels more realistic. Why not have a little apartment on top of Nook's Cranny where the boys go after their hard day of work? And the same for the Ables. Just to make it seem like they actually live their own lives outside of the storefront interaction. Maybe go for a walk now and then, talk to the villagers, and just have regular lives. Number 3, the return of a few old characters. Now, when the 2.0 update dropped, I'm kind of ashamed to say that the return of Cap'n made me more than a little bit nostalgic and maybe a little bit emotional too. But there's still a few characters I would love to see on my Switch screen. Digby, as aforementioned Isabelle's brother, maybe could do the same job as her, but similar to Phyllis and Pelly, maybe do the night shift. Speaking of which, though the post has been integrated into the airport, I wouldn't mind seeing Pete the postman back again, walking around the island morning and evening delivering the letters. Just another character to interact with and make our islands feel busy and alive. Perhaps he could reward you with his own furniture set depending on how many letters you sent, to give a little bit more incentive to send letters, since, really, there's not much reason to. Though it might be hard to justify, I wouldn't mind seeing Pelly and Phyllis too. Even though their roles would be almost redundant, I just want to see the messy drama of their love triangle unfold. And hey, maybe the Dodo brothers could get involved in their love life too. Gracie, now here's a character I didn't think I'd miss, but I actually miss her expensive clothesline and her furniture sets. Sure, they're a bit gaudy at times, but more importantly, they were very expensive. Besides paying off your home loans, there's not much to buy. Yeah, there's this crown, but once you've bought it, then what? Gracie had a whole line of furniture and fashion sets that sometimes I would have to wait weeks to collect an entire furniture series, where a single wallpaper would set you back by 124,000 bells. I spent many nights on Tortimer Island farming for beetles and sharks to pay for my desperately needed princess set. Perhaps even Gracie could manage the furniture and LaBelle could manage the clothes like the high fashion queen she is. Number 4, the return of multiplayer minigames. Now, I mentioned Tortimer Island in exclusive furniture sets. Tortimer Island made you pay for their items in medals, which is an alternative currency similar to Poké. Medals had to be earned through minigames, and the better the result meant the more medals as a reward. Now, we do have multiplayer, but honestly, other than exchanging items, flowers, or the fluctuating turnip market, there's not much to do, unless you make your own fun. A return of in-game minigames would make hanging out with your friends online or in person so much more fun and rewarding, especially since Nintendo announced that the online service for the 3DS are being discontinued, so this would essentially cease to exist in the future. And honestly, some of those games are just genuinely fun, and a few of them were actually very challenging. I'd love to see a minigame Mystery Island type thing, or even a minigame Dream Realm that's hosted by Luna. It could function like an online lobby, where all you have to do to play online or locally is lie down in your bed, similar to when you're touring a dream address, taking part in a dream world so not to interfere with the in-game world too much. And it would also give Luna more purpose, and reward-wise, maybe the introduction of a Dream Suite furniture set could be quite appealing. Number 5, more events and event improvements. Okay, so this one is not all about Bunny Day, but it doesn't bode well that when even Nintendo, who doesn't normally bend a knee to the masses, had to admit Bunny Day was bad. For those of you who may need a reminder, Bunny Day was originally 12 days in April, and oh boy was it annoying. In the end, it got cut short and we only have to toil away for 8 days, but in my opinion that's still too long. I believe events are supposed to be a kind of challenge, a goal to aim for, or at least, a fun game to play. Whereas you can easily complete Bunny Day purely passively just by playing the game. It's more of an inconvenience really, especially considering the rewards fall a bit flat. But that might just be me. Basically, my problem with events is that they've just gotten a whole lot easier. And what happened to April Fool's Day? In New Leaf, April Fool's was where a character called Blanca would visit your town, and I suppose I see why they might not want to bring her specifically back, being, a cat with literally no face. But why ditch the event altogether? Why not make a whole new April Fool's mascot in the form of an alleged child, like CJ or Flick? Maybe, give them a face? Blanca's whole thing was that she was able to imitate a villager, and you would have to determine which was the fake based on the dialogue. And to be honest, this was sometimes hard to do, because it required you to deeply know your villager. Maybe if Blanca was to say have a daughter, she might not be as good as her mother, so it's somewhat easier than in New Leaf. But if it's too easy, I don't see the fun in that. And if I was going to request another event day, it would be a much improved Valentine's Day. Yes, there's a little bit of an event, kind of. You can receive 1 of 2 Valentine's based items depending on your level of friendship with a character, and it arrives in the mail. That's it. And maybe it's my own want for a little bit of drama and romance in the games, but Nintendo haven't exactly shied away from this with couples, like Reese and Cyrus, Captain and Leilani, the more obvious Harry and Harv, as well as the messy trio Pete, Phyllis and Pelly. But I want to play postman and be that fly on the wall at the same time. I want to deliver those letters between villagers and stand there awkwardly to see what their reactions are. I know it's silly, but how fun would it be to see your villagers send each other Valentine's cards and gifts? Maybe the Smugs can send really obnoxious cards, the Peppies just regard everything as fan mail, and the Crankies don't expect anything at all and then feel shocked when they receive something. I don't know, I'm just throwing out ideas, but I think there's a fun and interactive way to do Valentine's and not just receiving a box of chocolates or flowers in the post. And it might even pander to some headcanon love stories. Number 6, and this is the last of my returning features, more building themes. Now, I've mentioned this before, but in New Leaf you were able to pay for the renovation of a service building, which included the town hall, the train station and the police station. This meant you were able to change the colour or the style entirely of a building, and this would make trying to make our island's themes seem seamless 100 times easier. So there weren't a lot of options. There was Zen, Fairy Tale and Modern. So Japan Core, Fairy Core and City Core, as well as a few different colour options for the default buildings. And I can't understand why they didn't do this for New Horizons, with the main focus of the game being outside decoration. so I'd love to see an upgraded version that extended to the airport and tailors, so we could pick a few options to match our island themes. Number 7, new villagers. Well, obviously with a new game they would most likely have to make new villagers, and I definitely want more of the species that we have fewer villagers of, and perhaps even better in-game models. I personally think mice and monkeys could do with a bit of a glow up. Why not make all the monkeys look like Nico? He's adorable. Mice too. Mice are really cute animals, but I just feel like Nintendo missed the mark with them entirely. And with new villagers, I'd love to see some hype leading up to the new game. When the 2.0 trailer dropped, we were all running around scouring the internet for video analysis of the characters we might have missed. Or at least I was. Why not, as it becomes closer and closer to release date, drop a little tease now and then of a new villager to keep the hype and attention on the game. I would honestly love that, and I'd be making my new dreamy list straight away. Number 8, more personalities for villagers. So I mentioned new villagers, but I think it's time we got some more personalities to boot. I have a problem with the huge gap in number of normals and the number of sisterly characters. There's way too many normals. I would love to see another boy and another girl personality to help balance more of the personality groups. For girls, I think Shy would be a good option. A character that's nervous and unsocial at first. Perhaps over time, as you interact more, they open up and talk mostly about their embarrassing social stories, or how they find talking to certain villagers hard. I think it would be really cute to see, and it also normalises that it's okay to not be a social butterfly. Peppies would be their worst nightmare, and this could pull from the large pool of normals and convert a fair few normals into Shies. I would also like to see a fair roster of sisterlies too, since it's a personality group that I love, but there are so few options to choose from. Now for the boys, something like Geek would be cute. Basically an anime fan. Maybe they could talk about the latest show, or their favourite characters, or the latest comics. I guess maybe the equivalent of normal for boys, since I think it's a bit unfair, the boys don't have much of a default character. Everything is a bit over the top personality wise. So there's Jock, a sports and bodybuilding mad character. Lazy, who loves food and for some reason loves bugs. Cranky, who's just grumpy and old. Or Smug, who comes across kind of narcissistic. I couldn't think of a better label than Geek, but maybe you guys can. But I think it'd be closer to the boy version of normal, whereas the girls talk about their favourite book, the boys would talk about their favourite shows and comics. Number 9, better item placements. So the level of decorating is pretty great in the game honestly, but I'd like for the next game to be even better, including more placement options. Diagonals, basically. I want to be able to place benches in more than 4 directions, for example. It would offer so much more depth, and while we're at it, how come bridges can be a diagonal, but not an incline? Better placements would make so many decorators so happy to be able to perfect their island in the way they want. Also, would it be so hard to make sure there's a half tile placement for buildings, so that they match up perfectly with inclines and bridges? I hate when you make the perfect setting, and then when you go to place that integral staircase, only to find it's off-centre. It's so annoying. And it feels like a bug that should have been corrected by now. And although it might be a big ask, how about a little extra movement with the buildings like villager homes? So it's possible to have a right or left placement, so they're not always forwards facing? It doesn't seem like much, but I'm sure in the right hands it would make for some intricate, dynamic and beautiful islands. And just once again offer a lot more for those island designers and depth for the game in general. Even a diagonal tilt, rather than a full left or right, would make a world of difference. And guys, can I also get rugs outside? Please. And finally, quality of life. So these are going to be pretty self-explanatory here guys. This is its own mini list of irks. First, easier transactions between mystery islands. We all know it, I don't want to travel back to the airport between islands. Please, just let me go from one island to the next without all the dialogue and the loading screens. Second, to be able to buy multiple items from the tailors. Sometimes I want all the colours of a specific hat or dress, and that means I'm having to check out again and again and again. Please just let me select and purchase more than one outfit's worth, it shouldn't be that hard. Third, multi-crafting. Why, oh why? Can't I just see the max amount of items I can make with my current materials and choose how many I want to make? Say, 5 items in one go. It's so time consuming to sit there mashing A over and over. Have you ever done the mind-numbing task of making bulk amount of bait? It's painful. Fourth, and this might just be me, but I'm forever arranging my inventory. There's a few more modern games that have the ability to auto-sort inventory, and it would make life so much easier to be able to just have all my tools, materials and furniture items nicely sorted in groups with the push of a button. But maybe that's just me. And fifth on my list, optional target assist while terraforming. Now, there's a reason that I don't generally terraform on camera, and that's because I'm terrible at it. I really am. It's such a battle for me to place water especially. I'm forever putting it down, covering it up, putting it down. I get so angry sometimes you wouldn't believe. And so I don't think I'll ever be able to fully flatten an island, to be honest. But a target assist, like in Stardew Valley, so I can see exactly what I'm doing before I do it, my life would be complete, guys. And there is my list. Did you think I missed anything there? Is there something else you would like to see in a brand new Animal Crossing game? Let me know, I'd love to hear it. And was there anything I mentioned that you think would be great? I'm looking forward to hearing your guys' opinion, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. It's my first time doing something like this, so let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching, goodbye!